You are listening to Hard House History with Paul Glazby.
Fergie, finally, welcome to Hard House History.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Been watching all the posts, and yeah, I was like, I wonder, is he going to ask me to get on here? It took you a while.
Well, mate, to be honest, I thought we've got to build this to at least a certain level before we, because you are probably I get messages every day, and every few days, get Fergie on. Like I can just call you up and go, mate, come on the podcast. But
you can?
Well, I can now. But
always, mate, always. But no, it's been great to watch them, and it's been great. A lot of different views and stuff on there that I would never have known, and it was it's cool. It was really nice to see Jean on there, and have her input, because a different story again, and obviously you got a little taste of it on the Don't Ever Stop documentary, and it's good. It's been interesting to watch, and good. Congrats.
Thanks, man. Well, I don't know if you know, but it was completely by accident. This wasn't supposed to be like a music podcast at all, but it just kind of evolved, which I think is the nice thing, because I think if I had started it with the intention of it being what it is, it may not have worked out like it has. But it's got me back into the scene. It's nuts. So like, if 18 months ago you'd have said you're going to be interviewing Fergie on a podcast and you're going to be, churning hard house tracks out again, I'd have been like, fuck off.
Well, this is what the beautiful thing is, because it's, and I think that's one of the things, Paul, because, it's like people that know you from in the scene, like, you were always very organic and very natural and very into what you were doing. You were never chasing what everybody else was doing, even with the label and stuff. You were doing your own thing. It wasn't like you were, always trying to get absolutely every gig. Like, it was clear to see you were taking the right gig that was right for you, because you had such a specific sound, I think. Yeah. So it was interesting when you stopped DJing, and then over the last couple of months seeing it come back, and it's been like very organic again, just your approach and just the way you are anyway. So it's been nice to kind of see that happening,
Yeah, thanks, mate. Nice. So let's stop talking about how good I am.
It was just a bit of that. We have to remind him. I've been watching the clips, mate. You know what I
mean? Matt's getting a name for himself.
I got the memo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's it. I sent him a WhatsApp message. Fergie, say something nice about me at the beginning, please. So let's take it right back to little Fergie, little boy in Ireland. Yeah. Like, when did you must have been DJing at, like, when did you start?
1992, 93. So yeah, I still have my original turntables and stuff. So
wow. Oh, so they're the turntables you had then?
They're my original first ones. Yeah. They're the only thing that I've ever kept my whole life.
Right.
Like, I haven't kept anything else. So yeah, they're still doing it. They're kind of like, they're hard to play on because they're like the pitch control and stuff. They're just a bit battered. And I've had people come into my house and DJ, and they're like, these don't work. And I'm like, well, I know how to work them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I've been fucking playing with them for 30 plus years. But the pitch control on the Mark IIs are kind of a bit iffy anyway, but mine even more so. They're kind of like an old man getting out of his chair. You know what I mean? You have to understand how they work to use it. But sometimes when I'll do a mix, they'll just go like into hyperspeed, and they'll just fucking go crazy. Like, it's mental, but yeah, they're still there. Okay. And I did try the Pioneer ones out a couple of months ago. They're really nice, a lot of functions and stuff on them, but there was just I just didn't like the feel of them, and it's like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm standing up there playing records, and I've got my little Fergie turntables here, and they're just kind of sat there, and I felt really bad. So I was like,
Like you were
"Come on,
cheating on them.
yeah," I was like, "Come on, you bastards!" So there they
Well,
are.
yeah, it's I'd not touched a set of Technics in the last time I'd played vinyl was when I did that 10-hour set at Storm back in 2012, and then
Wow.
when I was back in the UK in November, and I went on Amber D's did a live stream with
Yeah,
Amber D.
yeah.
And yeah, that was the first time, and it was like weird, you know, like putting the record on, like queuing it up, and then but it's like riding a bike, isn't it? Once you,
It is. It's the funny thing about that is, and I don't know, everybody's different, but for me, it's just the nerves thing. You know what I mean? It's like it's the nerves. It's like, you know, you can fucking do it. You can fucking mix like fuck when you're in the house and then you're out in front of people and you're going, you know what I mean? And it's always the first couple of tracks, and you know, that's why we love it. It's beautiful. You know what I mean? You're riding by the seat of your pants, and
yeah,
it's you know, you have a time frame to create something special. You know, it's like, especially with vinyl, you know, you can buy this record, you can buy that record, but you can't buy the mix. You have to create the mix. You know what I mean?
that's what I've said that for, yeah, like it's basically like you're creating that third track out of
Yeah.
the two. You know, like that's the thing. It's not just mixing one from the other. I remember when I started at Insomniacs, like some of the and I'm not going to name any names, but I'd like watch some people, and it was like they were just
Get there.
but literally just mixing the last. You'd go to like the dead beats, you know, so the bass is gone, and then it's just because you're just mixing the end of one into the beginning of the other, and it's not, you know, you're not layering and creating that sort of, yeah, that third
Yeah,
track.
and you know, there's some records I do that with. You know, obviously I'm playing like really early 90s stuff, and the structure of the records back then, there wasn't much space to create much, you know, and it's almost like, you know, when I first started DJing, some of the only way you could DJ was or mix was in the breakdown, but it was maybe the second breakdown, because records back then maybe had 2 or 3 breakdowns and they were all different.
Yeah.
So you were generally mixing in one of them breakdowns because there was no other space to, like, the record was full pelt, and sometimes the volume would just go down at the end.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, you know what I mean? So it's just like, fuck, you know. But what a great way to kind of learn in them days by playing that music, because it was fucking hard as fuck, and it still is now. You know, DJ friendly really only started happening, you know, 94, 95, where there was beats at the start, just and beats at the end, and it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that's for me, like I missed all that because I didn't start mixing until 97.
Right.
So you were like an old hat at it by then.
Better by then. Get out. I'm not saying it was any good, but I've been doing it since then.
Yeah. So in 90, what did you say, 92? Is that what you said?
92, 93, yeah.
So you would have been...
I was 12.
Right. Fuck.
Yeah, I was 12. And, you know, the very first turntables that I got weren't Technics. They were the Cloud 9, they were called, and they were the nickname was the Coffin Deck. So they just had just one cover. You opened it up, had 2 turntables, belt drive, had a little microphone thing in the middle. You had 2 faders, and all the pitch control. All you had was 33 and 45 RPM, right? So there was not really. They weren't built for mixing per se, but I used to get the end of, you know, open my old fucking Regal king size and rip a bit of the cardboard out of my cigarette box and jam it in between the 33 and 45 and get a little bit of variation.
Right.
Didn't really work, but it made me feel like, you know what I mean? But that's you know, when the spin backs had to start happening, so fucking get the spin back, go and get yourself out of jail. Problem was, when you done a spin back on them turntables, the rubber band would come off the platter. So you'd do a spin back, put the other one on. You'd have to take the slip mat off, take the record off, take the slip mat off, take the platter off, get the fucking elastic band back on, get it off, hook it back on again, and away you go. Do you know what I mean? So it was quite the operation, and it was still a bad mix. So, you know what I mean? What the fuck am I doing here? Like, you know what I mean? But here we are.
Yeah. So how old would you have been then when you met Tony?
I was 15 when I met Tony.
Right. So you'd had the techniques for a while by then, because obviously...
Yeah, I'd had techniques for a while by then. And I was already DJing quite a lot in Ireland by then. Like, I had a residency in one of the biggest nightclubs in Ireland called the Airport 2000, which was just outside Belfast when I was 14. So I was doing every Friday night up there. You know, it's getting my fucking... Still doing the spin backs, even on the techniques. It hadn't progressed too much. And I was getting 25 quid a gig, and it was an incredible experience. It's one of the most scariest, brutalest nightclub experiences every week that I ever had. I mean, the police wouldn't even go to this place. It was that crazy. I've been outside and there's been fucking bits of people's ear on the ground, and people have their necks gouged out with bottles of fucking smash bottles of beer. It was really rough. Like, it was really rough. But any place that there's really roughness, there's always a beautiful intensity before anything kicks off outside. When the E's have gone down, everybody's inside on the gear, fucking hugging everybody, go outside on a bit of a come down, and fucking start fighting with everybody. So just stay inside. The first night I played, actually, the electric went off. And my brother was with me. And in the DJ booth, fucking giving it loads. And the electric went off. And fuck me, these guys, it was just full of skinheads, like rough as fuck. And they just started throwing tables and chairs in the DJ booth. Like, we thought we were going to get killed.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the electric came back on, different again.
So, put the tables back.
I actually remember. You bastard.
I don't know if you remember this, but the first night that I ever played Insomniacs was you'd played at a club, I think it was Birmingham, and someone had got stabbed. Do you remember that?
Don't. I'm not sure. I can't remember. There was a period when there was like, there was I don't know, did they die? I mean, there was a period when there was fucking, there was quite a few people fucking dying, man. You know?
Yeah, I remember getting to like when I first started clubbing, if there was an ambulance outside a club, you'd be like, oh shit, what happened? And then it got to the point where we'd pull up, and obviously if I played Sunday Central, I'd always be on late, and where the taxi rank was, it'd just be 10, 12 ambulances just lined up.
And they were all for matters. They were all for Mad Dog. Wow, what a guy.
Yeah, it was amazing when he came on. Like, he's for someone who, by his own admission, is, has been, not anymore, thankfully, but like drug fucked as he was. But his memory, his recall of events and dates, and unless he was just making it up. I mean, who's going to know? Maybe he was just he seemed to know what he was talking about.
Maybe he's what kind of miss that kind of approach, that kind of face of clubland or your brand that was like really someone being in front of it and a man of the people supporting their brand, and just being 150% submerged in what he was doing. Maybe went a little bit too far with it, but we don't really have that anymore. We don't have. There's it's all big company stuff. Not all of it now, but I mean, it's a very different. It's a very different game now. And listen, I'm not knocking it. We all benefit from things in different ways, and I'm just saying there's a part of it that that I miss personally.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like the Rolling Stones, or they probably look at rock acts these days and go,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that sort of craziness. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I guess you pay the price, like Madders did. But thankfully, you know, he's on a good track now, so that's amazing. When I sat with him, I'm like, mate, I never thought I'd see you again, let alone, you know, I think a lot of people tuned in just to prove that he was, oh shit, Madders is not dead. Like, let's have a look at this. You know,
well, I don't know if you remember when they found him in a ditch. Did you ever see the picture of him in Mixmag in the 90s when they found him in a ditch in Ibiza just with his fucking boxer shorts on? Like, did you ever see that? It was, yeah, you maybe weren't DJing at that point, but yeah, no, he like, it was just crazy, like mental, you know. But he was a great supporter of me, and you know, I started playing for them guys before they started Sunday Central. They used to do a little party on a Thursday night in Burton-on-Trent at the Refinery.
Okay.
I used to do that for them. Yeah, so before they done Sunday Central and stuff. So.
Well, I don't know if you watched. So you know Tom Williams from like the Bradford Boys. You remember the Bradford Boys?
Mm-mm.
You'll definitely know Tom. He if you get a chance, go back and watch his episode because he's talking about you when he first met you, and it was at Sunday Central.
Sorry, Tom.
Honestly, mate, you'll definitely, as soon as you see him, you're going to know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But he was saying about, he was stood next to the DJ box and there's some young kid just sort of hanging around there, and then he started talking to you, and he's like, "Oh, you know, where are your mates?" And you were like, "Oh no, I'm just here on my own. I'm playing." And then the next thing, you were DJing there, and but the reason it's so important to me is because the week after, or 2 weeks after, or something, you were playing for my mate Andy Usher in
Andy,
yeah. So you invited Tom and his mates down on your guest list, and that's how we met Tom. So if it wasn't for you, like my group of friends and Tom's group of friends, mate, as soon as you see him, you're going to remember. Like, I mean, it's 25 years ago, but yeah, him and his mate came and picked you up from the airport because someone had let and you had a shower at his house.
Oh, you're making me feel a little bit like Matters here, mate.
But anyway, if it wasn't for you, then we wouldn't have known Tom and his
Tom,
mates.
Is it? It's not Tim.
Not Tim Tom. No, he was my mate. That's but
them Arches gigs, mate, were fucking brilliant. I really miss things like that. Like I never like Gatecrasher. I had one good gig in there. But the Arches, fuck, I love the Arches. It was fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Well, when I came back last year, I did that. So when I came back the year before for Insomniac's 25th birthday, me and my girls came back. We were only back for a week. It was too hectic, you know. Like we just flew in on the Monday, played Saturday, flew out the next Monday. So this year that's just gone, for the 26th birthday, I said to Tom, "We're going to come back for 2 weeks this time because so we've got a bit more time with the family." So in true Tom style, he's like, "Oh, well, let's do 2 gigs then." So we ended up doing Insomniacs on the Saturday, and the following Saturday we did a gig called Glazby Time, and I did a 5-hour set. But guess where he booked the venue? It was the Archers.
No,
and I'm like, and after he booked it, I said, "You do realize that's where I started?" And he's like, "Oh no, I just booked it because it's reopened." Brilliant. And so being back there in November last year and standing in that room, and people like Tom and Tim Tom were there, it was literally like stepping back in time to just being in those stone walls with the sweat dripping down, and it was nuts.
So yeah, I used to go. I was Sheffield a lot, man. Back then, it was great. Do you remember a guy called Freddie? No, Freddie. I can't remember.
Freddie.
I can't remember his name. Blonde hair, but he actually started running a thing a night called Friction.
Okay.
Like Tuesday. I can't remember his name anyway, but yeah, I was just wondering. But yeah, Sheffield is great, man.
It was a real hotspot at one point because we used to have Rise on a Friday.
Yeah, that's where I got arrested first. When first week it was over with Tony outside.
Oh,
Rise.
really?
Yeah, fucking was going into the fucking going into Rise with. It was at the lead mill, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I remember we were going up. Tony got this big new fucking Volvo R, and me, Buckley, and Tony were going into the club, and then I forgot to fucking take a couple of bombs of speed, so they sent me out to the car to get the fucking speed. And I'm sitting in the car, fucking in the passenger seat, glove box, fucking get the speed out and putting it in a couple of Rizzler papers, you know. Take it in the
What'd you do?
Guy fucking opens the door with his fucking warrant card and is like, "What's that?" Now I'm not a very smart or quick person, but for some, and I don't know where I got this word from because I was 16. I never heard this word before in my life. I don't know where I would have heard it. He goes, "What's that?" And I said, "It's glucose." I don't even really still know what glucose is, but that's what I said it was. And he fucking got me out of the car and he took me up to the police station. They didn't even tell Tony or Andy where they'd taken me.
Right.
And took me to the police station. And in them days, obviously, not everybody had cash. They didn't have cash cards and stuff like that, especially a 16-year-old, no ID, you didn't have ID or anything like that. So they go, how do we know you're saying who you say you are? I was like, fucking call my mum up. Fucking or do they call my mum up? They go, hey, yes, is Constable fucking wow, whatever the fuck is your. Can you tell me what your son's name is? She goes, Robert Ferguson. Well, right, we got him here. Possession of fucking amphetamines. And then I had to give them Tony's number because obviously they couldn't charge me because I was a minor. And Tony comes up and gets me and stuff like that, and he was so annoyed and so pissed off at me and all this stuff. And we had to get in the car and drive to Hop the Trot in Derby, and then we had to go to Trade afterwards. So, yeah, it was a very, very quiet car ride.
So who'd sent you out to the car then?
Andy.
Right, okay, right. That makes sense. So, obviously, you're, like you said, 16, you're traveling around the country with arguably the most famous DJ in the world, or one of, at that point. I mean, that must have been a bit of a... Or is it like, in the moment, you don't realise how big a deal it is?
No, I realised because I was already buying Tony's record. And, I had already been speaking to Tony for a year, because a lot of people are like, how did your mum let you go and fucking live with this gay guy in Birmingham and blah, blah, blah. But, what people don't realise is, Tony had been coming over to stay at my mum's for a year. So when Tony played in Ireland, he stayed in my mum's house. My mum and dad was there, and, Tony had a lot of conversations with my mum and dad, and it was Tony actually had to sign to be my guardian.
Right.
So, on the outside looking in, people are like, well, your mum's fucking, letting you go over there. But there was a lot of work done in the background, you know what I mean? And, my mum loved Tony, and, they had a great, a lot of trust there and stuff like that. And I was only meant to go for a week.
Right.
I was only meant to be there for a week. What happened was the ceasefire in Belfast, in Northern Ireland, the ceasefire broke. And, I was in Birmingham at Hinstock Road, and Tony was watching the news, and he's seeing all this rioting and fucking just all this madness going on the TV in Belfast, which was everyday life for us. But he's like watching it going, oh, I don't know. That looks very dangerous. I'm going to have to phone your mum. Maybe you should stay a bit longer. I was like, oh, yeah, that's terrible. I can't be going back. I can't be going back there. Mate, I'm fucking burning shit and fucking smacking.
And you said you weren't a quick thinker.
Well, you know what I mean? I need to give myself a wee bit of credit. But, so he, he said, listen, if you would like to stay, a little bit longer, and that turned into 11 years, so it's good.
Jesus. Yeah. And then obviously, so that would have been, that's 95, 96?
Yep.
And and then obviously, 98 is when he passed away. And I was talking, when I was talking to Jane, I was saying to her, there's only 3 people that I can't even remember where I was when I found out my own mum had passed away. Wow. But I can remember Princess Diana. Yeah. Who's the other one? Anyway, Princess Diana, and Tony De Vit, and there's one other,
Yeah.
I can't think who it is now, but like it was such a big deal at the time. And that was, you know, me, I've been clubbing for maybe a year, 18 months at that point, and had just got into learning to mix. And I've probably not even done a gig in a club, but it hit me hard. So for you, it must have been like incredible.
It was crazy because, you know, it was kind of 8 months from when Tony found out to Tony passing. Like it wasn't very long, which was absolutely crazy, you know. You know, when Tony did find out, he was doing a show live on Kiss FM and he called me. I was living in just outside Walsall at the time, and he called me in between playing records. Tuesday night it was. And he told me. And then he was like, I've got to go. And he went. Now, I just thought he was going to finish doing the show, but he called my mum straight after.
Right.
And told her, I guess he was just, you know, worried, and he was just, it was crazy, you know, it was such a, I mean, so I was, I don't know, 17 or something at the time, you know, so it was like, you know, this was stuff that you've seen on the news and stuff, you know, it wasn't like stuff that happened.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? You know, then, you know, he was given trying different medications and stuff like that. And one thing I remember, they could never seem to get his medication right. There was always some sort of imbalances with it, you know, and me, Andy, and Tony would be going, he was still doing gigs right up the fucking end, like it was crazy. But I'd be sitting in the back of Andy's Seat Ibiza car, and I'd be driving, nobody in the passenger seat, me and Tony in the back, and I'd be rubbing Tony's legs. Like he had these kind of just weird, what do you call it? Stuff happened because of the tablets, and it was just like effects, had these different effects. But when he was walking, he felt like he was walking on glass, and his legs were just always pins and needles and stuff. So I would be sat in the bag, like going to a gig, fucking whether it's somewhere in Aberystwyth or, you know, Miss Moneypenny's or whatever it was, I'd be, you know, sitting rubbing his legs and stuff like that. But he had to go and do the gig, you know what I mean? It was you know, and yeah, that was a really weird and hard time, you know, obviously seeing all that stuff happen, but then, you know, Tony having his studio taken through that period, you know.
So what was that?
When Simon went in and cleared out the studio.
Oh, right, okay. Right.
So that was all happening, and Tony was just like going through that and going through the studio being taken, and it was just a lot for him to be dealing with, you know what I mean? And obviously that's how the Dawn came about, because that's why I went up to work with, you know, the
James.
Yep, Paul, you know what I mean? And that's why that happened, because the studio had been taken.
Yeah.
All of it literally like taken.
Right. And the thing is as well, like, you know, all that behind the scenes stuff is such a contrast to what, you know, I would have seen, you know, like I said, that time in Birmingham where Tony's playing, and, you know, like I said, the closest interaction I ever had with him was kind of, you know, a little bit of a nod while he was playing.
Yeah.
But what I saw was this DJ, you know, like this icon that everybody's, you know, and then he leaves that gig, gets in the back of the car, and you're having to rub his legs because his legs are fucked. You know, like it's just such a contrast.
I mean, that was the thing with Tony. You would never know. Like he had all this other stuff going on. Do you know what I mean? He was just such a strong-willed person and very passionate about what he was doing. I mean, I used to sit in Tony's bedroom, and that's where he had his turntables set up, and I would just sit, because he would just like go up and mix.
Yeah.
He would just get his promos, and he would just stay up there for hours mixing. So when I first went over, it was an incredible thing for me, because here I am sat in the fucking end of Tony's bed in Birmingham, just standing there watching him mixing, going through his promos. That, you know, his best friend Alex, you know, he was kind of the guy that would go through. I mean, it's Tony's best friend. He'd done a lot of things, but one of the particular things he did, he would be kind of going through the promos. Or Tony would like this, put it in this pile, or, you know, this is a double, or, you know, so he would kind of get these pile of records, and then Tony would vet them, and this is that's, you know what I mean. So I would be able to go and sit and just listen to Tony going through his stuff. It was mad. It was mad, you know, looking back at that. So yeah, he just was relentless. You know, even if you look at them periods from him being 35 to you know, 40, that 5 years of production and music that was done was just incredible. You know?
Oh, amazing! Yeah. It's and I said to Jane, and I'll ask you the same question, because for me, like The Dawn, it's like he knew that would be his last. Because obviously, all the other tracks he'd done, you know, you got some of the, you know, more, I'd say camp, but, you know, like the Feel My Love and things like that. They're, you know, a bit more, and then you got the real hard stuff. Obviously, Are You Already being probably, you know, still one of the best, if not the best, hard house record ever. But The Dawn was such a departure from anything that he'd done before, and it's so, you know, emotional. It's like he knew it was going to be his last night.
Which is interesting, because in Tony's mind, you know, the dawn meant it's a new day, it's a new dawn, it's a new beginning. I've had the studio taken, and this is a different approach, and I'm looking at it in a different way. That's what it's called. That, you know what I mean? And, you know, that might have been him also trying to, you know, be positive for himself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, keep himself kind of on high spirits and stuff like that. But yeah, you talk about Are You Already? I was in the studio when he made Are You Already, you know. Like,
really?
I was in the studio at the Custard Factory, and it's an incredible memory just from watching the rawness of Tony actually making something. And one of the moments I was stood in the vocal booth, which was at a window which had a direct view into the studio. And I remember standing in there when he was just kept going through the record, and he was just Tony just couldn't dance, but he just fucking just stand and tap his leg and, you know, move out a little bit. But he fucking absolutely loved that. And he made that record he actually made it, and the first time he played it, I was there as well, was at Pride in London, 1996.
Right.
In the Trade tent. And that was also the first time I got offered money for sex, which I didn't take it. There was a, you know, it was the first time I got offered money for sex, and it was the first time Tony played Are You Already?
All right. When you said the first time, does that mean there's been other times?
There's been other times, and, you know, as the years went on, you get a bit older, you don't get offered money anymore. You know, but at least it's still nice to be asked.
That's right. At 48, I do it for free.
No, I'm saying, like, no, man, you have to, you know. Yeah, I actually was at my friend's funeral, Chriso, the Test Lounge.
Yes, yeah.
God rest his soul. What a terrible, terrible, tragic, what a fucking nightmare. Yeah. Well, I was at his funeral a couple of weeks ago, and there was a guy called Mantis. I don't know if you know Mantis. No. And I hadn't seen him for years and years and years. This parlays into another story. Tony kicked me out of his house at one point for stealing records, which I wasn't. I can tell you more about that. I don't even know if this was in the documentary. I don't think so. I'm not sure.
Ooh, exclusive. Let's go.
Yeah. So anyway, this is what happened. I told you earlier on about the guy Alex who used to go through Tony's records and pick stuff. Blah, blah, blah. So I had the downstairs room in Tony's house by the garage and blah, blah, blah. And Tony and Alex and Andy were going to Ibiza. So Tony said to me, "Hey, Alex has come on by me. Any promos that come through, can you go through them? You know, set aside a pile that you think I'll like. And if there's any doubles from that pile, put them in a pile for you." So happy days, mate. I fucking get a wee pile there for me, get a pile for him. And but when I came back from Ibiza, you know, and I told Alex, and Alex wasn't very happy about it, but he told Tony I was stealing stuff and I was taking stuff in my pile that wasn't in his pad.
Right.
Anyway, Tony said it with Alex and kicked me out. Anyway, the only person who I could call was this guy called Mantis. And I called him up and I was like, Mantis, I haven't got anywhere to stay. Tony's kicked me out. Can I stay with you? And he goes, yeah, if I can stay on top of you. I was like, no, call you back later. Yeah, and I was talking to him. That's the first time I've seen him for years, and we were just, it's like at a funeral, we have a few beers and all that.
Yeah.
Just talk about these things, but just a wild time. And I had to go home that week.
Right.
I had to go home that week. I went to the airport the next day. I was on a Tuesday, and I went to the airport the next day. It was Wednesday. I got home, and talk about Matters. I know this is all over the place and going over.
That's all right.
But Matters called me at my mum's. He had got the number off Tony because Tony had called me and asked me where I was, and I said I was at home, and he wasn't very happy. And I was like, "Well, you kick me out." I mean,
what do you expect?
I'm not fucking staying with Mantis.
Exactly,
He got Matters. He got Matters to call me, and Matters was like, "Listen, your first gig you're going to play in England with Tony is on the Thursday night," which it was at this place in Burton-on-Trent, the refinery.
Right.
I said, "So Tony wants you to be there on no uncertain terms. Can you not be there? Like he's told me I need to use your fee to get your flight ticket over," and that's how I got back over. And after that, it was all good.
Yeah.
And I never moved in with Tony again. He got me a bed set in Erdington, and decorated this fucking bed set for me, and got me a DJ stand made, and got all my turntables set up, and so that was
And what about this Alex guy? What was his deal? If he's the one that
Alex, and I actually spoke to him about this as well. And this is the thing, right? These small little things, and this is what I was saying to Alex, because he was like, "Oh my God, I didn't realize," and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, all these small little details were actually really big, impactful things that were happening to me. They're like kind of life-changing things. It could have went another way.
Yeah.
If Tony hadn't have been, Tony was always going to side with Alex, but if Tony didn't, love me, if he didn't believe in me, if he didn't have any of that, I would have went home, and there would have been,
no Fergie.
Yeah, he just, but he did, and he called me, and he was like, it meant something to him, and he made it happen, and. So, that was a big kind of moment for kind of our friendship, and just there was a lot of things Tony didn't need to do. He didn't need to take me to England in the first place, So, just telling you, he was just a very kind, genuine person.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Just this morning, but I was trying to put it into context. Like I said, the way that Tony's passing impacted, not just me, thousands of people. I mean, his funeral was nuts. Like me and my friends drove down there to Kidderminster, I think it was.
Yeah.
And we were stood outside. There was thousands of people there. But like when Mike Tyson lost Customato, like who he saw as his like kind of, I'm not saying Tony was your father figure, but like that was for him, and then for him to lose him at that really young age. You were doing a similar age, like 19, 17, 18, 19.
Yeah, 18,
yeah. 98, yeah, you would have been, yeah. So it must have been pretty hard.
It was I mean, listen, the last time I seen Tony was on the fuck me, I'm going to say Tuesday night, and these fucking things, I'm just realising, this will be the third time I've said a Tuesday night. Well, this is 3 different memories that have happened on a fucking Tuesday night. I'm not going out on a Tuesday night again.
Every
But
other
this
night of
was
the
a-
week's
it was a
boring in your
Tuesday-
life.
That was a Tuesday night, right? And England were playing Argentina, and it was the first time Michael Owen played, and I think it was the night David Beckham got sent off as well when he kicked
Right.
Simeone. And it was me, Tony, and Andy in the hospital room with Tony.
Mm.
And we smuggled some fucking Budweiser in because we're only fucking kids, you know what I mean? So me and Andy, you know, Tony's in the hospital, very hard situation. We're kids, we don't know how to deal with it, you know what I mean? We're
Yeah.
there with him, you know what I mean? And we're sipping on these Budweisers, and Tony had a wee sip, and Tony didn't even drink, but he had a wee, you know, we had the football on. He didn't like football either. You know, I mean, he might have liked watching the fucking guys, like, but he didn't like football. You know what I mean? He had a wee sip of the Budweiser, and that was the last time I seen him. That was the last time I seen him. And he died on Thursday.
Right.
Yep. So he did.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, trying to comprehend all that stuff is just mental, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, I said to Jane, you know, it's like the hard thing, well, there was many hard things, but, you know, even at his funeral, which obviously I was there, and talk about Matters again. I mean, Matters had to fucking hold me up. I was just so upset and just distraught and not knowing what I just. And I just remember Matters just had me under his arm, you know what I mean? And, you know, then the family were like, Tony had to play at God's Kitchen that night. He was booked to play at the Sanctuary.
Right.
And they're like, you have to do this gig, like, you know. And I had to do his gig, and I went and, you know, got his record box, and I'm DJing in the Sanctuary, and everybody knows I'm going to be doing it. And, you know, it's like, fuck me. You know, I'm DJing, and I open the record box and set up a little picture of Tony, and it's just very fucking emotional and you know, crazy, and yeah, just crazy times. You know, it's I think one of the interesting things is getting to be an older man, is looking back and going, fuck me, mate, like, you're fucking so young.
Yeah.
So young through all this stuff. One of the strangest things is like going, I'm 46 and I'm older than Tony was when he died.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, you know, and it's like, I look at, you know, the hunger and drive and passion or whatever it is for what I do with DJing and go, fuck, Tony had, it must have been the same for him.
Yeah,
Like, I'm looking at it, what was Tony thinking now at 40 years old? Because when he died and I was 18, I was thinking Tony was old as fuck.
Well, it's true, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was 40, because you're thinking old. Like, you're old. Like, anybody who's 40 then is old when you're that young.
Yeah.
Like a man, like an older man, do you know what I mean? So now, you know, I'm 46, and you look at things differently, and you think about the energy. You appreciate it from a different perspective. You know, for Tony, you know, taking me under his wing and reaching out and being so supportive of me and being there and going, okay, I can look at this from a different perspective, from being somebody who's a 40-year-old now and going, fuck, we have less energy for ourselves as getting older, right?
Yeah.
But still, Tony had this extra compartment and compassion and humility and just, do you know what I mean? So it's just interesting to try and look at that different picture from a different perspective of age, and, you know.
Yeah. It's a little bit like, I I'm sure you've seen the Rocky films in your time, and like when Mickey's talking to Rocky, saying about how he keeps him going. Like it's having Rocky in his life that keeps it. And obviously he's a much older guy, but maybe that's what Tony got from you. That youthful sort of.
Maybe. And he. Yeah, it was just it's hard to put all. Sorry, that's my.
That's all right.
Got a fucking freight in there. Yeah, it's just fucking vinyl being delivered. It does my. But it's hard to put all that into perspective, because you had that, and one of the most important parts in this story is I had to stop DJing. Tony had to stop pushing me so much because people were getting so fucking pissed off. Like all the local Birmingham DJs and just people around the country, because here I am. For instance, my first gig in Gatecrasher when I was 16, didn't even know I was going to play. Going up in the Previa, with Jean's husband, Les, and Andy, and all the crew. It was just always like 6 or 7 of us every night. Sorry, like probably about 7 or 8 gigs we were doing. And we went to Gatecrasher, and Tony it was a Saturday night, so Tony had to go all the way go down to London to do a set at Trade. And he'd always done the last set at Gatecrasher. And he calls me in the fucking DJ booth, and he goes, fucking points this fucking pile of records. And he goes, Tony wants me to fucking pick them up, put them in his fucking bag or something, you know what I mean? He goes, you're playing the last 30 minutes, I've got to go to Trade. He said, I've left you some crackers. Well, I was like, fuck me, mate. And so there's me, like, going on after. Like, there was just madness like that, which people don't do that, you know what I mean? It's like extra kind of, here we go, this is fucking my guy, let's fucking go. There's your fucking platform, mate, you know what I mean? That's only really the only good gig I had in Gatecrasher. So I
only played in that Insomniacs did a gig there once, and I remember so as you're playing, the door was like to the left and behind you, and someone came in and they were trying to talk to me, but I didn't hear what they'd said, so I kind of followed them out to say, what are you saying? But then the door closed behind me and there was no one in there. So my record just carried on playing right to the end. And then Les, who I did a Vicious Circle with, he passed away last year as well, unfortunately. But he climbed from the dance floor up over the DJ box and then let me back in. Is that what everyone's like?
Man, some situations. But that club was amazing. The Republic was amazing.
Oh yeah.
And I've been there loads of times when I wasn't playing, but I'm just saying, for me personally, wasn't really. Tony played in there and always wrecked the place. Tony could do whatever the fuck he wanted, you know what I mean? It's fucking Tony.
Yeah.
But I just felt when I played there, it wasn't the same thing. It was more, it was a kind of different sound, really. But it worked. Tony worked everywhere he played. So,
well, that's one of the things I wanted to ask your opinion, because I said this to the Tidy Boys and Amadeus, and you were saying at the beginning, like getting all these different perspectives from different people in the scene has been really interesting. My thoughts are that when Tony passed away, that the hard house sound seemed to like lose momentum, because obviously he was like spearheading it. He was playing at Gatecrasher, he was playing God's Kitchen, a lot of these clubs that were more sort of trance orientated, but he was taking that harder sound there. And then when he passed away, it seemed like it lost ground a bit, and that sort of Gatecrasher trance sound took over for the next couple of years. And then it was like early 2000 where things really took off for hard house. But like, what would your perspective be? Because I guess if you were all of a sudden doing a lot of what gigs that Tony would have done, you may have a different perspective.
Well, my perspective is this, and you have to look at where the hard house came from, the high energy, then the early Trade stuff, and then all the Trade DJs had their different sound, and that's where, for me, the hard house sound was cultivated. You have to look at you talk about the trance, right? And is there a correlation to that trance sound? And look at the Dawn. I wouldn't say the Dawn is a hard house record.
No.
In my mind, it's a Tony De Vit record that has hard house elements, but I don't think it's a hard house record. It's very much more on trance side of things. You know what I mean? Like, how do you know? Okay, so if Steve Thomas Take You There is a hard house record, or if Are You Already's a hard house record, you know, and I even look at Are You Already and question it being a hard house record, because I think that what Tony was doing was taking it even further than hard house.
Yeah.
You know, how can you say that 99 Floor Elevators and Burning Up and all this stuff is hard house, and Are You Already is also hard house?
Yeah.
Very, 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 very different sounds.
Yeah.
Very different. You know, but Tony, again, Tony was really pigeonholed with that sound, but he tried so much different styles, but it all just got put into that one basket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, talk about, you know, Tony the hard house, but the stuff he was playing in Trade was more like this techno sound. You know what I mean? Which Are You Already was fit into that because it was so intense and industrial.
Yeah. Industrial. That's a good. Yeah.
You know, it really was. So, you know, Tony's spectrum and boundaries and his broadness of his scope, you know, I think that, you know, I just look at things and go, you know, putting a name on a genre on these records is not fitting, because he was so much more. Like, when Tony, up until the point when Tony was making Are You Ready and I Don't Care and, you know, To the Limit and all these stuff, like, he was out there on his own doing that stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't in that hard house confinement, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, people, you know, obviously there's a whole story when I stopped playing hard house and as Antichrist and all that sort of thing, but you know, the other side of that story was, you know, I spent a lot of time with Tony talking about music and listening to music and going through a lot of this stuff with him. And, you know, the Dawn, you know, Tony, again, I think with that record was going to evolve his sound.
Yeah.
He was moving away from that sound. You can't say anything but that. You can only gauge on his last production, and it was definitely moving away.
Yeah.
You know? So, and if this is because he was so interested in music, right? You know, Hard House was a part of it. But I mean, Tony had been DJing for so long, you know, and I took a bit of that from him in terms of, you know, trying to look at different styles and trying to look like, you know, keep moving forward, you know, and I think that was generally okay with people, but the difference was, you know, I had this Tony De Vit legacy to protect, and a lot of people's mind, I wasn't protecting it. In my mind, I was protecting it.
Yeah, because like if Tony had not passed away, where would he be now, or even by, you know, 2005, what would he have been playing? Like, nobody knows. Like, even you don't know. But you were kind of burdened with the responsibility of carrying on where Tony kind of left off. But he may have been going off in a slightly different direction. So
you look at even Live in Tokyo and Live in Tel Aviv and stuff, you know, even that heart, I mean, he was always in his own, he's just breaking records, you know what I mean? Like, hearing stuff for the first time, you know what I mean? And stuff might not have just, like, Dave Randall, Bombay, is that a hard house record? is that? I mean, if it is, it's like it's not like any other hard house record I've heard.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? That tribal, repetitive. You know what I mean? It's like, is Ziad? You know, I Get High. You know, like the old Ziad, that early Ziad sound. That was called hard house.
Yeah.
Was that hard house? I mean.
So or even taking it to the other extreme. I mean, like my label, Vicious Circle, like it's not really hard house.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you know,
no,
like.
But I think the thing with this is people get offended by taking things out of that hard house bracket. But I think it's interesting, and I think it's, you know, you should be able to talk about this stuff and get different points of view, and it's interesting to talk about. But a lot of this stuff, people think you can't talk about. You can't say The Dawn wasn't a hard house record. What the fuck is that all about? But I'm saying that from a perspective of opening what Tony did up to a bigger place.
Yeah.
It's not taking anything away. It's going, no, Tony was much more than this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's it's definitely one of those sort of what if. You know, it'd be amazing to, you know, like in an alternate universe where, you know, you and him and all of us really, but like, you know, you and him got to develop together over the next 20, 25, 30 years and see where that would have, you know, like my friend Johnny R.R. Fierce, when he, I mean, you'd know some of his records, but like, the stuff that we released of his after he'd passed away was his best stuff. You know, like he was really just coming into his own as like one of the best. But even then, not hard house. I mean, even though it comes under that umbrella, but it's, you know, his stuff was, much more full on. But I always, you know, think, what tracks would he have done if he'd still been around?
Yeah.
But you know, we'll never know, will we? So you're very early 2000s when I started at Insomniacs, you were still like a hard house DJ, but then it didn't seem long after that you were experimenting with.
Yeah, that was the tail end of it. So basically I was in Ibiza and I got put in the top 100 DJs, and I was like, I remember being at Pike's Hotel, and I just was like, that's it. I'm not playing hard house anymore.
Right. Oh, so you actually had a.
That was it was just such as clear as day for me. You know what I mean? I've been playing it, and I didn't really think that it had. I just thought it was getting worse, and there was, like any genre of music, mate, once it becomes popular, you're just, everybody's making this hard house, and I just was getting all these white labels, and everything was just sounding the same, and it was kind of a bit kind of Bob the Builder getting.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me personally, I just didn't have any. It wasn't moving the needle for me. I wasn't excited to play it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was like, that's when I started venturing into other stuff, and you know, and it was a big decision because, you know, ultimately, you know, going into DJ Mag number 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever it was, you know, and being a kid, I mean, I'm still, you know, 20 years old maybe at this point, and going.
Yeah, you must have been like the youngest person in that top 100.
Yeah, and you know, thinking about, okay, I want to experiment and try other things, and it just was a no-brainer for me. And obviously it didn't go down very well, and it didn't do my, if you want to, I don't even want to say career, but your DJ life and your, you know, the gigs you were doing, it you know, people get pissed off at me for moving away from it, but I mean, it was one of the hardest things I had to do, you know, from emotional, from financial, from, you know, having to understand that I'm going to have to start getting gigs in different places. But I have this name, Fergie, this hard house poster boy,
Yeah.
and you know my DJ life just went.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was in, I think I was, I don't know, I was in the top 10 anyway at DJ Magnet. I think, you know, the next year. It wasn't on a Tuesday that I found out. Just
But actually, that's a question I was going to ask is, like, obviously, you know, whenever you do anything that's out of step with what your fans kind of want, then you're going to get some shit. But what easy was it to be accepted by the other side, you know, the sort of scene that you were breaking into? I guess if you're in the top 10 DJs, then that's certainly.
Yeah. No, that was, you know, I couldn't wait to get out of the top 100 DJs.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to get out of it, because for me it was like, okay, as soon as I'm out of here, it's a new thing. Right. It's a complete.
You should have been like me. I got to number 89, so I was straight back out.
I think I might have got the 89 as well. It was like, but no, but you know, the thing what you have to understand even about that, the DJ mic was incredible. You look at the people that was in that then. The people that was in the DJ mag back then, I'm not saying it was better then than it is now. I'm just saying for people that were around in them years, you know, Carl Cox, Tony,
Paul Van
Dyke, Danny Tenaglia, you know, Sasha Digweed, Oakenfoot, like, that's like, you know, the people that were in there. It was an incredible
like dance music royalty.
Yeah, and that didn't get penetrated for so long. Like nobody knew was getting in there. Nobody knew was getting in that. It was, you know, nobody got a look in really, you know, because back then it was very hard to penetrate that kind of circuit and get in there. You know what I mean? It was very kind of, everybody was just on the same thing, doing all the same gigs. So it was crazy. And you know, would I have got in there if Tony hadn't died? Probably not. You know, like when Tony died, I had to do all his gigs. Yeah. I say had to. I mean, they didn't have to force me too hard. Obviously, getting these gigs, you're like, wow, you know. And Andy started managing me and doing all my bookings, and it was just a real. It was, like I said, it was just a real organic thing. It just happened from an absolute tragedy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was good that we were able to come together and make something of that, especially because Tony believed in it, you know. So it was nice that Andy and I had them years doing that together.
Yeah.
And but you know what? It was like the hardest thing, I think, not the hardest, but one of the hard things about that is situational, right? And the time frame that it did happen, because all this stuff on me changing music happened at the time when message boards came to life. But bear with me. If say Tony died in 95 and I then changed my style in 96, there wouldn't have been much chat about it. What happened was the message boards came to life and people had a voice.
Yes.
Right?
Keyboard warriors.
Yes. And listen, brilliant, you know, brilliant. But the interesting thing was, as I said, we're still kids, you as well. Yeah. And I'm sure you probably went through a bit of this maybe. But back then we didn't know they were keyboard warriors. And back then, even everything we read in a magazine or newspaper, we believed. So when you're reading these comments that are very, very harsh, they're very hurtful, because you're like, oh, they're saying this, it must be true, and it's impacting you massively. You know, we didn't have the sense, or we didn't have the experience to live through this new internet age. Everything was a direct hit. to your fucking soul and your confidence and you know. So when I was going through all that and getting hit massively, that's, you know, I just started going to the clubs and filling the club with all my friends in the DJ booth and trying to, you know, keep it together. And I was getting absolutely fucked up. That was pretty good fun for me, like, but you know what I mean? It was like it was a crutch as well.
Yeah.
But you know, there was that period that I went through when I stopped playing hard house. I didn't know what to play, so I was playing right across the board, and promoters were like, "We can't book Ferg because he played this way last month, and he's played this way the month after." And the places that I wanted to play were like, "We're not booking Ferg because we don't want all them people that like him coming to our club, because our club is a total different vibe."
Yeah.
And it was like, so I was in this middle. The places I wanted to play didn't want me. The places, you know what I mean? So it was like this weird place to be.
So you were like the opposite of me. When people booked me, they knew exactly what they were going to get.
But that's a brilliant thing, and that's testament to you, to, you know, being really into that and being, you know, you cultivated, that was your own thing, right?
Yeah.
Right. So people have to understand this. Hard house wasn't my thing. Hard house was a Tony thing.
Yeah.
And I'm becoming older, and there's part of you that wants to break out, and part of you wants, you know what I mean? It's like, so, you know, you want to find your own way with stuff. You had found your own way. You were doing your own thing. I wasn't.
Yeah.
But people won't.
Yeah, I'm that bit older than you when I got into it later. So it was like, yeah, I feel for you in that way, because you were kind of corralled into something that, like you said, it wasn't your thing.
Well,
it was like your mentors.
I loved it, but it was always going to be Tony's thing. You know, it was always going to be Tony's thing. So, you know, there's obviously a part of you, you know, that wants to, you know, try new things, and, you know, you grow up as you change. Everything changes. You mature about everything. Your sound, you know, whatever it is, you know, and you have all these different experiences. Like, you're flying around the world. You're listening to the older DJs playing in fucking South Africa, and you're playing in Brazil. You're playing all these places. How do you not take them experiences on board? Do you know what I mean? And go, oh yeah, do you know what? That's exciting for me. I wasn't taking records out of my box and going, fuck all you cunts, I'm just going to do this.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But it was like one of the things, and it honestly used to get me down so much until my mum pointed out something to me. And she's like, Robert, you know, these people that are so annoyed at you, you have to stop and realize why they're annoyed at you. Because they have drove up and down the motorway supporting you. They've come to your gigs. They love what you were doing. They love the music you were playing. And you're always very welcoming to people and bring people into the circle and be just out and about in the scene. And what you've done from moving away from that style, you've taken that away from these people, and they're annoyed at you.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's an anger that's coming from passion.
Yeah.
These passionate people that love music, that love you, that have supported you. And they're annoyed because in a way you've taken that memory and that connection away from them.
Yeah.
And when she said that to me, I was like, this made me feel like a right cunt, cheers, one. No, I was like, you know, it's good to be able to look at these things in a different way. And from that moment on, anytime anybody was saying anything to me, or, you know, disgruntled online, I would take the time and speak to them and reply to them and kind of walk them through it. And you know, most of the time we would, you know, finish and we would be good and understanding and stuff like that. I just think that people felt a little bit shafted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I understand, but, you know, I was also very young, and, you know, the same thing that maybe Tony loved, that excitement and that curiosity, was the same thing that these people were not happy about, because I still had that curiosity, I still had that excitement, but it was for something else.
Something else, yeah.
But if I didn't have that at the beginning, I might not have got my chance anyway.
Yeah.
So how do you don't turn that off. I still have it now.
Yeah.
So there's just kind of things that happen along the way, and the way I look at it now, I'm very lucky to be DJing 30 plus years and being able to. One of the most beautiful things what's happening to me now is I've changed so many different styles over the years, and people say whatever it is, but now the special thing now is everybody is behind it, and everybody has kind of come back on board, and I am able to now go and do these gigs and play absolutely fucking everything, and it's like a moment for me to be able to go back and go, fuck, we maybe took some roads here, roads there, but we've all came back to this special place, and these people are fucking coming to these shows now, and there's a little bit of memories from each genre that people can relate to. And if I hadn't changed all in different things, I wouldn't be able to be doing this, what I'm doing now. So it's like, it's a beautiful kind of realization and position to be in, where I can service myself and service that, and I just fucking absolutely have been loving it. So,
well, the thing is as well that the fans, they've all grown up as well. So when they, like the kind of how we're seeing things, because we're old, but they're older as well. So they probably appreciate what you're doing now, whereas before, like, oh, Fergie's a cock because he's not playing hard house anymore. But then they, their taste develop, and then they love what you're doing now. So it's I mean, it's nice that, like you said, 30 years on, or more than 30 years for you, isn't it? That you're in the position.
it's a great thing, and kind of got a bit of the story out through the documentary and stuff, and people see it. We're able to see a different side of all of it, So the documentary helped explain a lot of stuff, and again, that was just a beautiful situation to be asked to be a part of that,
Yeah, no, it was such a good film, because I'd not. You couldn't get it in Australia at first, so I was going to Amazon Prime, but then it was like not in this area, and then Jane connected me with Phil, and then Phil sent it me, and I got to and then Phil came on.
Great guys.
Yeah, really nice. Yeah,
that documentary really worked because Phil, Stu's great as well, but different skills, right? Phil's amazing what he does as a Stu, but the difference Phil had was his deep connection with the scene. He was going out to these gigs way before he was ever thinking of doing a documentary, so he knew the story. He knew a bit of the Fergie story, he knew the Tony story, he knew about Andy. He knew like the kind of the deepness and the connection. It wasn't like just somebody that wanted to do a documentary about Tony.
Yeah.
And I think the important thing is as well, it wasn't a documentary about Tony's DJing per se. I think people get confused because a lot of people have been like, "You're in the documentary so much." I'm like, "Oh, sorry," Like, there's a reason why I'm in it so much, and it's because there's limited footage of Tony.
Yeah, like 8 minutes or something, I think. Yeah,
there's limited footage. Do you know what I mean? So you look at the footage there is of Tony, but look at how massive his story is.
Yeah.
So the producers had to connect it in some way. It was more of a story about Tony De Vit, the human, who was a DJ. Do you know what I mean? And this is what he did, and this is, so I don't know if everybody kind of got the gist of it. Like, I know I watched the Ian interview he did. Again, he's like, I forget what he said, some fucking leprechaun was in it and blah, 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 blah. And it's interesting, because, these people were asked to be in it and said no.
Right. Yeah.
So, there's a different perspective on that. And
well, that's what's been the amazing thing. Like I said earlier, like, speaking to not so much about that, but just in general about the scene. Two people that were in the scene at exactly the same time, but seeing it from completely different, or not even completely different, but just seeing it from different perspectives. And like I said, Amadeus, when I said about that sort of hard house taking a step back after Tony passed, but he didn't see it like that at all. He said, no, things were surging, but I wasn't in the scene then. I was a fan. I was, just learning, getting my first few gigs playing for Andy Usher and things like that. And so,
well, it did, because that was when, listen, I went, the first time I met Andy and Amo was 1996 when I went to, what was the night called at Cream? It was on a Friday night. Freefall maybe or something, or I can't remember what it was called. And that's when, it was in the days when you used to have to wear, you couldn't get into Cream, even if you were with DJ, you had to wear shoes. Like Tony gave me a pair of Patrick Cox shoes to wear, a pair of these suede trousers, and a fucking yellow short sleeve Ralph Lauren shirt. That's what you had to wear to get in the Cream back then, and that's what I was wearing the first night with the Teddy Boys. I wonder what Amo and Andy was wearing. Like, I don't know, were they wearing shoes and shit? I don't know. But I can't remember. They must have been. But anyway, I remember when I was meeting them, because obviously I was playing all their stuff.
Yeah.
And I did say to them about, we should do a record together, you and the Teddy Boys and Fergie and Tony. I hadn't even asked Tony that, but obviously nobody was interested in that idea. Well, you gotta ask these things.
If you don't ask, you don't get. Yeah, I've got a similar story with Andy Pickles. Like, and I use this all the time, because if you don't put yourself out there, then how are you going to, how are you going to get sort of pushed on? But yeah, Andy and Amo, they've been so good to me, especially back then. And it's nice to be reconnected with them. Amadeus is coming on again in a few weeks. So
well, the interesting thing is actually Amo's history, and even how he learned to produce when he was over in Amsterdam, like the history he has. And that's the stuff I want to fucking hear, because he never talks about it. Like, he always talks about, it's always like tidy stuff and blah blah blah. But the Amo stuff from before that is fucking would be really, really interesting. Because I posted a few records on my Instagram page, and he's been like, oh yeah, I used to go and produce with that guy, or he was my mentor, or he took me over to Amsterdam and showed me stuff. And these records, like, coming out of Rotterdam and stuff at the time, I think it was like late 80s. And Amo was fucking there with these guys. But nobody knew it. He didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, just saying what you were saying about that, you were feeling the hard house thing came to a standstill a little bit. The tidy tracks thing, it did go massive, and it was a slightly different sound. If you do look at the hard house that was the Trade-esque sound, the tidy track stuff was a bit more fun, right? A bit more uplifting, I would say. Which, I mean, I have gone back to a lot of these gigs that I've been doing, especially, your Amnesias and stuff like that. Like, when I said the Amo, like, I've been smashing out some of these more tidy track stuff, because when I was coming back to do hard house gigs, I was ramming the Trade stuff down people's throats. And it was going down okay, but when I changed it up, I was like, no, do you know what? I'm going to make things a little bit more fun, and not, give people what they want, really. And that's that was a big turning point for me over the last 3-4 years really, and actually me enjoying it more from playing that aspect of hard house instead of playing like old Steve Thomas stuff, and just staying in that kind of more deeper genre.
Yeah.
Because we forget that we were playing more of a mixed up set. Then it was like you're maybe playing some untidy dub stuff, maybe playing some Tony stuff, playing some Steve Thomas stuff, and some John the Dentist stuff. But when I started coming back to play stuff, I was just playing more of that darker sound.
Right. Yeah.
It was good that I changed that up, and the gigs have been fucking brilliant.
So, with that in mind, Hard House is back, and Fergie's playing some Hard House gigs. So, I think before we started recording, you showed me a pile of records you got. I'd ask you to try and narrow down if you were going to do your last ever Hard House set. You're never going to play Hard House again. 5 tracks that you would have to put in your set.
And I was like, go fuck yourself. How can you pick 5? I was like, yeah, what? I was like, what is this guy talking about? 5.
Oh, okay. Right.
How can you pick 5? I'll flick through.
Let's see how quick we can get through that 50.
Okay. We'll go through. So Knuckleheads, House Rocker. I mean, that was John Langford. Like, that was just a very different record for them. It still had that kind of serious trade-esque feel to it, but it was fun. Yeah. It was fun, and it was just the format of it, the sequencing of it was just a little bit different. It was very cool. Yeah. Pete Wardman, Overdose. How can you?
Oh, mate, incredible.
I can leave that out. But again, Max Sims, freaking Max Sims, Distant Stab.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember. Didn't that come out on Tripoli as well?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
This Ziad, but it was when he was called the Junkies.
Yeah.
This Magazines again. This was on Live in Tel Aviv, I think. Submission.
Yeah.
How can you leave fucking Signum out of there?
You can't.
Right? You can't. I don't know if would you have played a lot of Baby Doc?
Mate, Baby Doc is like my all-time favorite producer.
Yeah.
Him and Paul King would be like equal number 1.
It's like, so how do you I was trying to pick 5 records, and I was like, I don't want to, it's like I can't honestly talk about hard house records without these people in it, because they're so important, like Bangers and Mash, right?
Yeah, amazing. You know what's been incredible for me is I'd spoken to Baby Doc once. Back, we had a label called Resurrection, and we were licensing old tracks and then doing a remix. And the first one we did was Meltdown, which is Paul King, and BK did the remix. And Baby Doc called me and he's like, "This, you've ripped my track off." And I'm like, "Mate, what do you mean?" He went, "This Meltdown." I said, "You do realize this is an old track?" And and when you listen to the riff, it was certainly influenced by this Baby Doc track. Anyway, we had a decent conversation, and that was the end of it. That's the only time I'd ever spoken to him. Then he came on the podcast. So this is 25 years later. And now we speak on WhatsApp. He does a new track. He sends it to me. And I'm just like, fucking hell. It's like I'm this like fanboy. And now I'm nuts.
That sound was great. Bubbling Squeak, Plowman's Lunch. I mean,
Plowman's Lunch, yeah. In fact, Plowman's Lunch was the second release on Resurrection. Me and Paul Maddox remixed it.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Yeah,
it's just, you just can't leave this stuff out. Jazz Van Outen.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one, yeah.
JP, Sexy Thing, big track in Trade. I'm not sure if it really got much play outside the kind of Trade DJs or the DJs that went to Trade every week. Paul King, of course, Trauma.
Of course.
Can't leave Lisa out and the fucking all the rest of the girls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't leave Ian Emma. He's so bitchy, isn't he? But
But he's the godfather.
He is. Do you know what? He doesn't really speak to me anymore, and this is the reason why. I have to tell everybody because it's funny as fuck. So when in trade, everybody had these girly names. Like, for instance, Alan Thompson was Alana Thompson.
Right.
Malcolm Duffy was a Morag Dufay. Steve Thomas was Janet. Obviously, damn it, Janet. Blah, blah,
Damn it,
blah.
Janet. Yeah.
Tony was fucking Sarah Sunbed. Ian M. I'll tell you Ian's last because it's funniest. Pete Wardman was Wincy Wardman, but Ian's was Myra Hindley. So, and I said that to him, and he's so pissed off now. But this, observing the earth, but there was a time when Ian and Tony weren't talking anymore, but it was really awkward in that DJ booth in Trade and Turntables because it was soundproofed and they both had to pass each other, and Ian was all after Tony and blah, 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 blah. But even though they weren't talking, it's like Tony absolutely loved Ian's mix of What We Like to Hear Again. And he fucking hated that he loved it so much, he played it in every fucking set. But it really annoyed him. There you have to look at this stuff here. Discuss, Love Saves the Day, All Nighters, Black is Black. That's me. This, Must Understood. I think it's on live in Tokyo.
Oh, yeah.
John the Dentist, Global Phase.
Amazing.
Yeah, like this. I mean,
you know what I did actually when John the Dentist came on, and he was saying, he made some comment about he wasn't sure how much of an impact he'd made on the scene or something. I said, mate, I'm playing my 5-hour set in Sheffield, and it was a few weeks before we did the podcast, and I said, I'm going to play Global Phases, and I'm going to film the crowd when I play it. And I remembered to do it. Like, I'm thinking, fuck, don't forget. So I filmed the crowd as it gets to the breakdown, and I sent it to him. Yeah, he was just like, that's incredible. That fucking record, man. I think I finished it maybe in Amnesia. I played it in Amnesia like just last year. But BK, I mean, BK is the most prolific hard house producer of all time. No question. Considering that everybody's produced for everybody, everything he's done. My Great Dane just done a massive fart. I hope it was a fart anyway. Cleaning that up. But you look at this other stuff, Jump Up Crew, Sister Suck, right? But Sister Suck, that's BK as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So it's like, Sister Suck, Jump Up Crew, but also Sister Suck, Gotta Get Up. So fun and different. Sharp Boys, Just Come, obviously. Tony, Are You Already?
Yep.
Steve Thomas, Take You There. First, Sister Suck, Gotta Get Up there. But this Forerunner, Steve the Experts, Forerunner, just different. Obviously, NRG, Never Lost His Hardcore, Baby Doc. Yep. Bush Babies, Delicious. Yep. That is the most Tony De Vit track that Tony hasn't made. It's just, you can't leave out the Fruit Loop, Alan Thompson and Steve Thomas.
Oh, one of my favourites.
I love Tony De Vit Hooked. Love it. The Pete Wardman mix, though, just took it to another dimension.
Yep.
Brilliant. So good. Because, I mean, you have to understand, Tony's was a remix of 99 Floor Elevators. Pete's is a remix of Tony's remix. Tony's remix had so much impact that Pete remixed Tony's remix.
Yeah.
And how do you make Tony's remix was so different? So taking that and going, mate, don't even fuck. You're not going to remix 99 Floor Elevators, Tony De Vit Hook. Shut the fuck up. What are you going to do to it? Then you fucking do that. Wow. Yeah. Vincent D'Amore, Flotation.
Yep.
Tony remix. Marmion, Schoenberg. Obviously, The Dawn. Obviously, there you go. 9 Bar, BK mix.
Amazing, yeah.
That breakdown was fierce.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
fucking evil and beautiful, and
That was like the
not-
soundtrack to Insomniacs in the 2000.
yeah,
Like the early days at Insomniacs, that was
yeah.
that was like
there
the
and
theme
Euphoria,
tune.
you, what was that club in Leeds? Euphoria, Europa.
Europa, yeah.
E&M again, Dreamer.
Yep.
You know, so, but one of the other ones he did at E&M, Annihilation, brilliant.
Yep.
That's
amazing.
Fucking.
It's a freaking tune.
It's
that.
very. It's kind of simple in its sequence and structure, but the impact of that is fucking fierce. It's fierce, like, you know. So I a lot of time for Ian and his productions. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my 5 records.
Amazing. Well, I've just got myself a new little goal in life. I want to meet up with you one day. We'll do a back-to-back and we'll play all them.
Love to, mate. I'd love to.
Just got to get myself to Las Vegas.
Love to. Hey, I'll be here. I'm in the UK a lot. You know.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not. You need to get yourself out to Australia.
I am coming to Australia. Actually, I've been speaking to a few people about going over. But actually, I want to mention Andy Farley here because I didn't pick any of his tracks because I wasn't playing that hard house. I wasn't playing much of Andy's stuff.
Yeah.
But you can't have a conversation hard house history about talking about Andy.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, Andy is, if you look at, you know, how massive Tony was and understand that Tony played all these different styles, right? And Tony is without a doubt godfather of hard house. But Andy Farley he's always played hard house. He didn't play, you know what I mean? Like, whether it was the high energy side of it or whatever in the early days. But out of all the DJs, he has been the most consistent, stuck to his guns for so long. DJ within that genre. You know what I mean? And I say I don't think it's kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say it's not talked about enough. Maybe it is. I don't read absolutely everything that's out there, but you know, I think that there's definitely a crown that has to be bestowed on Andy's head. Yeah. You know, for sure. And you, as I say, you can't talk about all this whole scene and what we've been able to be involved in and not mention Andy at the absolute pinnacle.
Yeah. Me and Ian, when Ian was on, I think the second time, we were saying about how, you know, like I can mix, Ian can mix, but Andy's like just got like a flair that not many other people have. You know, he's Andy's such a nice guy as well.
He is, you know, and I would say, you know, Andy for me would probably be closest to Tony.
Tony, yeah.
The mixing and tune selection and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But fuck me, Andy's been DJing 70 years. He has.
He did the closing set for the Dinosaurs.
They were going to war with bows and arrows, and Andy was fucking DJing at the fucking ceremony, mate, kicking off. Well, he's opening Andy a little bit. He's going to fucking slap me.
Well, mate, hopefully we can do this again.
100%.
It's been, you did not disappoint. Let's put it that way.
We could probably do 10 of these. There's so much.
I think we could. But you know, and I've said this, you know, I say it pretty much every week. But when I started this and people came on, my mindset was when someone comes on, they kind of tell the story and then that's it. But then when Ian came on, straight away, like literally that night, he messaged me and said, "Can I come on again?" And when he came on the second time, it was very different because it wasn't like starting off when you're a kid and working all the way through. We were just talking shit for an hour.
Yeah.
So if you ever feel like talking shit for an hour, let me know and we'll do another one.
And I talk shit for fucking 24 hours every day. It's just whether you want to record it or not. But no, thanks so much, mate. I'm very, 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 very happy to talk to you for first and foremost. And
Thanks, man.
It's good to go over all this stuff, and you kind of go over it, and little nuggets come to your mind that you actually thought about in a way. So, yeah, thank you. It's been great.
Brilliant, mate. I'll see you soon.
Let's
take
rock.
care, pal. Cheers, pal.
Cheers, mate.
You were listening to Hard House History with Paul Glazby.